bolstered by an increase in hiring of officers soon. President Biden outlined a new student debt relief plan on a visit today to Wisconsin. Former President Trump says any limits to abortion should be left to individual states. An hour to the close, the Dow is up 21 points. You're listening to ABC News.
Hey there, you in aisle 2. I see you by the fiber and laxatives. You still using those to manage your constipation with belly pain? If your symptoms keep coming back, you may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. So you may need more than over-the-counter treatments to manage it. Ask your doctor about how Linzess can help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Israeli Defense Forces say they are pulling troops out of a portion of Gaza.
Israel says it is withdrawing ground troops from southern Gaza in preparation for future operations, including an expected ground offensive into Rafah. Israel leaving the southern city of Han Yunis after the IDF says Hamas ceased to exist as a military framework there. The city and surrounding area largely destroyed. One person saying that there's nothing but devastation. What am I returning to?
ABC's Britt Clennett in Tel Aviv. More people than ever watch this year's NCAA women's basketball tournament. And tonight, it's the men's turn, UConn versus Purdue.
There's no Caitlin Clark in the Boilermakers lineup, but Purdue does have 7'4" Zach Edey, someone UConn head coach Dan Hurley describes as a force to be reckoned with.
You may coach or play your whole career and never coach or play against somebody of his stature.
And how does Edey feel taking on the reigning champ Huskies?
They're a good team. It's obviously this is the matchup we wanted that we didn't want any other way.
Both Purdue and UConn are number 1 seeds. They'll meet tonight in Glendale, Arizona. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Procter & Gamble is recalling more than 8 million laundry detergent pods. The recall affects Tide Pods, Gain Flings, Ace Pods, and Ariel Pods manufactured between September of 2023 and February 2024. The seal on the bags could split and allow children access to the pods. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
This is the Newsradio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Whitloff in the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening this Monday afternoon, April 8th. Paraeducators in the Port Angeles School District on strike, and in response, the school district canceled school for today in Port Angeles. The union and district unable to reach an agreement on a new contract over the weekend. The paras have been seeking a 3.7% cost of living increase, equal to what teachers received earlier. They've been working without a contract since the end of August last year. The district, though, says it does not have the money to pay for that request long term. The teachers union is honoring the picket lines, so teachers did not show up for work today as well. Another bargaining session was set for this morning. Meantime, all athletic practices, events, and associated transportation will continue as typically scheduled with Port Angeles schools. Port Angeles police arrested a 27-year-old man for reckless endangerment domestic violence after an apparent accidental gunshot hit his 5-year-old daughter in the neck and shoulder. Sunday morning, officers and medics responded to a report that a child had been accidentally shot with a 9mm pistol near 15th and C Streets. The child was taken to Olympic Medical Center before being airlifted to Harborview in Seattle, where she was treated and released. Police are still investigating how the girl was shot and by whom. The girl's father, Stephen Miller of Woodland, Washington, was still being held in the Clallam County Jail as of today. Now, with a look at some other things that happened over the past few days, here's Sandy Keys and his weekend wrap-up.
This year's fire season got started with a whimper. A reported brush fire just before 6 Saturday afternoon along a short stretch of 101, unknown if it was east or west 101. Firefighters also were called to a late-night electrical fire at a Cassidy Road Squim address. Still with small numbers, just 3 known weekend vehicle accidents between 4:30 Friday morning and 4:30 yesterday morning. They were evenly divided among Squim, Port Angeles, and Forks, with no reported injuries. Turning now to weekend violences, only 3 domestic violences. The most recent in Squim, 1:30 yesterday morning. Port Angeles hosted the other 2 late Friday afternoon and 10 o'clock Saturday night. In addition, there were 11 other activities that were labeled disturbances, 8 in Port Angeles, 3 in Squim, and officers responded to 2 threats of or attempts at suicide, one in Greater Port Angeles Saturday evening, the other in a downtown Squim neighborhood a few hours earlier. There were 4 threats of harm to others, with 1 in Port Angeles, 1 in Forks, 2 in Squim. And while we did endure a burglary in the 900 block of West Lordson, we also contended with a theft in Carlsberg, a theft at Clallam Bay, 2 at Forks, 2 in Port Angeles, and all the rest in Squim. And we had more than 27 traffic stops, but the surprising numbers were low numbers. Still a lot more than expected. Those numbers involved domestic animals. We had an unheard-of number of animal abuse complaints. Weekend reports came in regarding perceived abuse near East Runyon and Mill Road in Squim, East 4th Port Angeles, and West 1st Port Angeles. A vicious animal at Marsden Road and Mount Pleasant Road was mentioned, plus an animal bite at Elk Loop Squim and Calabo Way Forks, and one person was bitten right in the middle of the 2100 block of West 15th, Port Angeles. Sandy Keys, Radio Pacific Local News.
Brim Tractor is excited to announce the opening of our new store in Squim along 101 in Carlsberg at Hooker Road. Brim Tractor brings a full lineup of Bobcat equipment to the peninsula, including Bobcat tractors, zero-turn mowers, and Bobcat excavators, as well as skid steers and compact track loaders. We are currently looking to add to our team diesel mechanics and a service manager for the new Squim location. Are you ready to join Brim? Brim is a family-owned company serving the Puget Sound since 1966 with an entire team of professional sales, service technicians, finance experts, and knowledgeable parts and accessory staff to support you. If you are looking for your next opportunity as a diesel mechanic or service manager, Brim Tractor in Squim has openings right now. Apply online on our website at brimtractor.com/careers. That's brimtractor.com/careers. See you at the new Brim Tractor store along Highway 101 in Carlsberg.
Septic Myths and Facts, Volume 3.
I use an additive to help my septic system work better.
Washington State doesn't recommend you use any additives in your system. There's no evidence that they improve the life of a septic, and some can even be harmful.
But how do I know if it's working or damaging my system?
By having regular inspections. A list of licensed inspection professionals is available at Clallam County Environmental Health's website at clallam.net/septic.
In other news, a 41-year-old Lakewood, Washington man was jailed Thursday for transporting meth and fentanyl from out of state. The arrest was made possible thanks to a tip from a Department of Corrections investigator at the Clallam Bay Prison. On April 4th, OpNet detectives were given the information that controlled substances were being transported from Oregon into Washington. The suspect ID'd as Joel Evline, who was under active supervision by the Department of Corrections. OpNet worked with the law enforcement agencies along the I-5 corridor to locate his vehicle. State Patrol then stopped the vehicle that Evline was driving shortly after 7 p.m. in Lakewood. Law enforcement recovered just under a pound of methamphetamine, 500 fentanyl pills, and some paraphernalia in the vehicle. Evline was booked into the Nisqually jail pending new criminal charges in Pierce County. Well, we're learning more and more every day that whatever it is we want to do or have to do, there's an app for that. Soon that will extend to finding a loved one's grave at the area's largest cemetery. The Port Angeles Parks and Recreation Department has just contracted with the company SemSites to manage much of the city's in-house side of operating the 17-acre cemetery with over 12,000 grave markers. But Parks and Rec Director Corey Delicat says the best part of the new system is how it will benefit the public.
This has been a really cool project that's actually been in the works for about 8 years, and it really is to get our cemetery up to speed from a records management standpoint and also from a GIS mapping system where folks can go online, go to our website, find their loved one's grave, click on that, and find the information. It's got a lot of cool features as well, like you could go to the cemetery, download the app, and you could literally just like Google Maps and just walk to your loved one's grave.
Delicat says they'll need a little more time to get the needed program uploaded to the city's website, but he's expecting cemetery visitors to soon be able to use their phones to grab a QR code right at the cemetery, get the app right there, and immediately find any grave on site.
It's just going to be a really cool way to do an efficient process for families who've lost their loved ones, and I think, to me, that's the most important thing. Outside of us maintaining that if something ever happened to our records out there, they'll be stored in the cloud, and we will have those records forever.
The city cemetery coordinator, Alex Jones, estimates the new system will go live in about 6 months. This is Newsradio KONP.
Losing a loved one is overwhelming. Your mind and your heart shut down. That's where Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory comes in. They took the burden off my family's shoulders and guided us through everything we needed to do. No pushy sales tactics or unanswered questions. They just held our hands and took care of everything we asked. That's why I will always recommend Drennan & Ford for end-of-life decisions. They handle the hurt like no one else can. Call 360-457-1210.
Hi, homeowners. Tracy here from Tri-State Roofing, your premier GAF Master Elite roofer. As spring makes its way into the Pacific Northwest, it's time to assess your roof, especially if your home has seen many seasons. Check for telltale signs like missing shingles, moss growth, and gutters full of debris. Spot any of these? Well, it's Tri-State time. We're your 5-star award-winning Puget Sound roofer for 2 decades. As a locally owned rarity among the top 2% of the nation's roofing contractors, investing in us means we invest in your peace of mind. At Tri-State, we understand the importance of making things stress-free, especially with your finances. We offer great financing, including our 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 18 months on approved credit. With Tri-State, it will be done right the first time. Remember, I'm Tracy from Tri-State, and I stand by every project we undertake. Project now, pay later. At Tri-State, we got you covered.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
All Weather Heating and Cooling is your Carrier authorized dealer. The Infinity Heat Pump by Carrier offers the highest heating efficiency, making your home more comfortable and energy efficient. Contact All Weather Heating and Cooling today or go to carrier.com.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Isolated rain showers likely this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. Daytime highs approaching 52. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected again tonight. Isolated rain showers likely 43. High temperatures reach up to 52 tomorrow. Chance for isolated rain showers. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 50 degrees.
From ABC Sports, this is Rich Cantu. A perfect season capped off with a national title.
Caitlin Clark owns the records, but South Carolina wins the championship.
Perfection with a touch of sweet redemption.
ABC TV during that 87-75 Gamecocks win over Iowa in Cleveland for the Women's Basketball National Championship. Gamecocks finished 38-0, their third crown in 7 years. Clark scores 30 in her college finale. South Carolina coach Don Staley reacting.
And I want to personally thank Caitlin Clark for lifting up our sport.
Joey Waller, ABC Sports.
Tonight, the men's national champion will be crowned. Connecticut tangling with Purdue for the title. Tip-off 9:20 p.m. Eastern. Other hoops news, ESPN reports longtime Kentucky head coach John Calipari is finalizing a 5-year deal with the University of Arkansas. Senior college writer Pete Thamel joins SportsCenter to discuss.
Yeah, John Calipari is a new home. It's a program with a rich history. It's not Kentucky's history, but it has a Final Four history and a national championship pedigree under Nolan Richardson, and it's a place that really and truly cares about basketball. And I'm sure John Calipari will show up showered with love.
NBA, it took 2 overtimes for the Sixers to beat the Spurs, 133-126. Jalen Brunson scored 43 points in a 122-109 Knicks win in Milwaukee. And the Pelicans eclipsed the Suns, 113-105. To the Diamonds, and another 5 hitless innings out of Houston hurler Ronel Blanco, fresh off last week's no-no against the Jays. A 3-run Yordan Alvarez blast lifted the Stros to a 3-1 victory over the Rangers. On the ice, 2 goals from Mika Zibanejad as the New York Rangers skated to a 5-2 victory over the Canadiens. The Stars beat the Avalanche 7-4. This is Rich Cantu, ABC Sports.
In local sports, former Port Angeles Rough Rider distance runner Jake Gladfelter of Corbin College in Salem, Oregon, placed 7th at the John Knight Twilight Invitational at Western Oregon University. Gladfelter ran a 3:35.92 in the 1,500-meter race, producing a qualifying time for the Cascade Collegiate Conference Track and Field Championships in May in Klamath Falls, Oregon. That time puts Gladfelter as the second fastest timed 1,500-meter run in Corbin University history. The Peninsula Pirate women's soccer team signing 2 more high school recruits. Jordan Labajo comes from Milialani, Hawaii, and Grace Widergren comes from Class 4A South Kitsap High School in Port Orchard. As a junior, Widergren was the South Puget Sound League 4A second-team selection. This past fall, Widergren was a first-team selection. There's high school tennis action today. The Port Angeles Rough Riders host Bremerton at 4 o'clock. There's a big high school baseball game tomorrow as the red-hot Squim Wolves visit Civic Field to take on the Port Angeles Rough Riders. First pitch at 6:30 p.m. The Rough Riders are 8-2. They're coming off a disappointing 5-1 loss to La Jolla last Friday afternoon. But the Wolves are 4-4 now, and they have won 3 games in a row. Now, the Riders will travel to Squim this Friday with a first pitch at 4:15, and that game will be the beginning of the KONP News Radio Rough Rider baseball broadcasts. Pre-game show will be at 4 o'clock as Ole Archibald has the live play-by-play, and John Hayden will join with the color commentary. KONP will also broadcast this Saturday's home game with Bellevue. Mariner baseball this afternoon, 3 o'clock airtime as they head to Toronto here on KONP.
Pepsi Zero Sugar has taken its flavor to the next level. A Zero Sugar Cola has never tasted this good. But we don't expect you to take our word for it, so we're putting it to the test, starting with me. My mouth is watering already, so I think we can skip the drum roll and get right to the main event. Cue the fireworks. We have an official best Zero Sugar ever. It's delicious, it's refreshing, and it's so good you'll need to try it for yourself. Trust me. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Zero never tasted so good. That's what I like.
Leeds Farm Supply is your local equipment dealer. But did you know that it's the only locally owned service center too? Leeds services the tractors, mowers, trailers, and other equipment they sell, along with brands like Kubota and John Deere. Leeds has 2 trained techs to take care of any size machine, competitive pricing, a fully stocked parts department, and a quick turnaround. Call or text 360-452-1400 and talk to Jeremiah for all your service needs. Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales, your local farm store, and so much more.
It is 12:20 now.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Netflix appears to be the big winner when it comes to streaming. Bloomberg looked for the most streamed TV show in the nation, and it was a 21-year-old legal procedural drama from CBS, NCIS. Carried on Netflix. No surprise, since NCIS has also been the most watched scripted show on TV for much of the past decade. 8 of the top 10 shows owe much of their viewership to Netflix. 9 of them are reruns. The only original series to crack the top 10 list was Stranger Things. Cintas, that specializes in clean, is looking for the nation's best restroom. Last year, the honor went to BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport in Baltimore for its newly renovated bathrooms that include fully enclosed stalls and a welcoming entrance area. Nominees will be judged on cleanliness, visual appeal, innovation, functionality, and unique design elements. You can nominate a restroom at bestrestroom.com. Stocks are up just 0.1% across the board. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
Check on the roads and traffic next, brought to you by Olympic Medical Center and Angelus Furniture.
Mark your calendars for an insightful evening at Olympic Medical Center's upcoming Community Forum in Squim. Join us on Thursday, April 11th at 5:30 p.m. at our Squim campus in the Medical Services Building, located at 840 North 5th Avenue. Hosted by CEO Daryl Wolf, This forum promises current updates on Olympic Medical Center, as well as time to answer questions from our community members. For more information, visit olympicmedical.org/community forum.
Spring savings are springing up all over the place, and those savings just keep getting better at Angelus Furniture. Sit pretty in your new stressless seating with $200 off any seating style. From now through May 28th, take advantage of up to any number of seats with $200 off each. And while you're in, check out the new Anna A3 arm in all Paloma leather colors. Stressless by Ecronus, the most innovative, comfortable seating created. Spring savings going on now for a limited time only at Angelus Furniture.
Newsradio KONP, traffic and roads.
All right, no big problems out there, just some volume as normal during the noon hour. A little busy in downtown Port Angeles, but things are starting to shake through and move again. You can see a little bit of a slowdown as you're heading out towards the Walmart into the Morse Creek eastbound, but that's not too long-lived there. All green arrows into Squim, and Squim itself, no big problems to report. Of course, you're going to run into some of the backup around Blinn for the construction zones there. We're showing some traffic slowing down through there, but nothing real significant, more just a slowdown than a full stop. Hood Canal Bridge right now is open to traffic and no scheduled closures at this point. Ferries are all running on time, and if you're heading out to the west end on 101 and 112, it is all smooth sailing. No problems there on either way out to Forks or out to Nia Bay. Currently, we have partly cloudy skies. It's 46 in Port Townsend, 47 in Forks, Squim at 53 now, 48 in downtown Port Angeles, and it's 50 degrees out at the airport in Port Angeles.
ABC Entertainment News.
There are a couple of monsters that are still a force to be reckoned with. Godzilla Kong, the new empire, scared off the competition at the box office for the second week in a row. The MonsterVerse matchup, earning an estimated $31.7 million, a big drop from its $80 million debut week. But it was still far more than the weekend's number 2 and 3 films, Monkey Man and Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. And with over $361 million worldwide so far, Godzilla Kong could top the $529 million global haul of 2014's Godzilla. The latest installment cost about $135 million to produce. CMT handed out its awards in a star-studded ceremony in Austin that included a tribute to the late Toby Keith. And happy birthday to Patricia Arquette. The actress is 56. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Sleep divorce is a relatively new term, but it's been going on for as long as couples have been together. Recently, actress Cameron Diaz got a lot of attention on a podcast when she said, "We should normalize separate bedrooms." Sure enough, experts we talked to say that more and more couples are considering the merits of a sleep divorce. Why? To maximize their sleep quality. Look, we all need 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep every night. Sometimes partners can make that hard to get. Sleeping in separate beds doesn't mean anything is wrong with your relationship. Probably actually means you feel more secure. In addition to the physical health benefits, researchers found that a well-rested person is likely to be a better communicator, happier, even seemingly more attractive and funnier, all traits that are key to developing and sustaining strong relationships. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Savings. Now that's speaking the Lowe's language. And with My Lowe's Rewards, your savings just keep coming. Save money with member-only offers and earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards just for you. Because Lowe's knows you earned it, literally. Learn more about our new loyalty program at lowes.com/MyLowe'sRewards. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See lowes.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
Hi, this is Jeremiah, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Chicken Minis is that soft roll with that honey butter brushed on it. It's so fluffy, like a cloud. It might be a mini, but it doesn't taste like a mini. That sweet, savory bite and that fluffy roll with that honey butter on it and that crispy chicken, it's an awesome way to start your day, the perfect breakfast treat.
Breakfast starts with Chicken Minis and Simply Orange Juice on the Chick-fil-A app. Real customer paid for their testimonial.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America.
The car was all over the road, swerving dangerously throughout traffic. What was wrong with the driver? I'll tell you that story after this important message.
Hey, Kelly, answer me a question. What's the greatest nation in the world?
That's easy. America.
Would you ever leave America?
No way. I love America. Jerry, why all the questions?
Well, because I'm concerned. America is changing so much, so fast. There's too much crime and disrespect, and most of us are doing nothing.
But we do have so many good people in America, right?
Yes, we do. But so many are doing nothing to save America.
Then what do we do?
Well, we must act. If not, the children, our future leaders, may never see our American greatness.
And what can you do to help? You can help us. God has shown us a way, and we are determined to do our part. Go now to www.jerrystewartusa.com and see our Saving America website. It's a place full of great stories and a site for all ages.
Do you love America? Want to save America? Go to www.jerrystewartusa.com to help us.
The car was out of control, swerving dangerously in and out of traffic. Finally, a policeman stopped the vehicle and asked for the driver's license and registration. He didn't have a license. Why not? Because he was completely blind. Then why was he driving the car? His female passenger provided the explanation. She was the driver, but she was so drunk she couldn't drive. So she was giving the blind man instructions. I don't know about you, but to me, America seems a lot this way today. Out of control, swerving from side to side, with those in charge acting like they are blind. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
The Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis. A number of states will experience the first total eclipse visible in the U.S. since 2017. Washington State, however, will not be one of them. In fact, the farthest west that the total eclipse will be visible is Oklahoma. It will be the last one in the United States until 2044. The path of totality, where the sun is completely covered by the moon, will begin crossing the U.S. around 2:30 Eastern Time and will finish about an hour later. The U.S. Department of Energy testing a second smelter to increase vitrification at the Hanford Nuclear Reservation. The process takes nuclear waste and immobilizes it into glass. Now, the Hanford site has 2 smelters at optimal temperatures. The waste is treated and then mixed with glass, forming materials and heated to 2100 degrees Fahrenheit. The hot material is then sealed into stainless steel containers and stored at the disposal facility. 2 people are dead from a crash involving a Washington State trooper on Shelton. And 2 teenage hikers safe after getting lost on the Pacific Crest Trail in Skamania County. The sheriff's office said one of the hikers called 911 Friday evening saying they were lost north of North Bonneville. Search and rescue teams got the GPS coordinates. Took 3 hours for the rescuers to reach the hikers' location. They were in good condition and helped them hike to safety. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app. You can also visit our website, WashingtonStateNews.net.
If you're a contractor, it's now easier for you to do business with the Department of Labor and Industries. Go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line and make an appointment with us ahead of time. No waiting around, no wasted time away from your job site. You get in, get out, and get on your way. Easy. So contractors, just go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line to make an appointment and get back to doing what you do best.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The total solar eclipse crossing North America, darkening skies along a path through Mexico, the United States, and Canada. In Texas, total eclipse has been reached. Looking ahead, National Weather Service meteorologist Cody Snell says northern New England remains one of the best places to view the eclipse.
Particularly from northeast Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and most of Maine
those places look like a pretty solid lock to be able to see the eclipse pretty crystal clear. Then the other spots that have the best chances are from around central Arkansas to southern Indiana, but those areas will likely have some high clouds. But in that case, the high clouds won't be obscuring the eclipse completely. They'll still be able to see some of it.
Huge crowds with a party atmosphere have gathered along the eclipse path. Totality generally will last up to 4 minutes, 28 seconds. Also at townhall.com, former Representative John Campbell of California is urging never-Trumpers in the GOP to rally around the former president for the good of the party and the country. Correspondent Bob Agnew with that report.
Campbell says he didn't vote for Trump in his own state's primary.
I was hoping for somebody other than Donald Trump.
Now Campbell says he will be voting for Trump in November.
And trying to convince everyone I know to vote for Donald Trump in November.
Because Campbell says despite things he doesn't like about Donald Trump,
he is leagues better than Joe Biden, who is the worst president of my lifetime.
Former Representative John Campbell was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. Bob Agnew reporting.
And on Wall Street, stocks are higher. The Dow is up 20 points and the NASDAQ adding 27 points now. More on these stories.
Are you over 30 and putting off life insurance? It's time to get a quick quote from Ethos. A better, easier way to get term life insurance. All online with no medical exam. Answer a few health questions and you could be approved for up to $2 million. Isn't it worth 10 minutes to help protect your family's financial security? Ethos. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I've been taking it for a while now. I feel better. I live on the Balance of Nature. I plan on taking it forever.
I've been a very happy customer. I like the product, and I'm telling a lot of people about it.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets as a preferred customer by using discount code BALANCE.
Key talks between the U.S. and China have wrapped up in Beijing.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the Biden administration will push China to change an industrial policy that poses a threat to the U.S.
China is now simply too large for the rest of the world to absorb this enormous capacity.
Wrapping up 4 days of talks with Chinese officials, Yellen said officials had had difficult conversations about national security, including American concerns that Chinese companies are supporting Russia in its war in Ukraine. But the focus of her trip had been industrial policy and what the US and Europe describe as manufacturing overcapacity in China. I'm Charles de la Tesma.
Greece's minister in charge of police has announced plans to set up a nationwide network of domestic violence shelters. Shelters would be set up in every police precinct in Greece. Breaking news at townhall.com. Correspondent Julie Walker reports victims of Montana asbestos pollution that killed hundreds take Warren Buffett's railroad to court.
Asbestos victim Paul Resch says he remembers playing baseball as a kid on a field constructed from asbestos-tainted vermiculite. It was shipped by rail from Libby, where he lives, for use across the U.S. as insulation.
Probably everybody got exposed to it in the greater area of that plant and what have you. Railroad tracks, everybody, whenever the wind would blow, it would make a little cloud of dust.
A trial is set to begin Monday in federal court after the estates of 2 asbestos victims sued BNSF Railway, owned by Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. Health officials say hundreds of people died and more than 3,000 sickened from asbestos exposure in the area. Attorneys for the railroad deny responsibility. I'm Julie Walker.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
This is the Newsradio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Whitloff in the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening this Monday afternoon, April 8th. Paraeducators in the Port Angeles School District on strike, and in response, the school district canceled school for today in Port Angeles. The union and district unable to reach an agreement on a new contract over the weekend. The paras have been seeking a 3.7% cost of living increase, equal to what teachers received earlier. They've been working without a contract since the end of August last year. The district, though, says it does not have the money to pay for that request long term. The teachers union is honoring the picket lines, so teachers did not show up for work today as well. Another bargaining session was set for this morning. Meantime, all athletic practices, events, and associated transportation will continue as typically scheduled with Port Angeles schools. Port Angeles police arrested a 27-year-old man for reckless endangerment domestic violence after an apparent accidental gunshot hit his 5-year-old daughter in the neck and shoulder. Sunday morning, officers and medics responded to a report that a child had been accidentally shot with a 9mm pistol near 15th and C Streets. The child was taken to Olympic Medical Center before being airlifted to Harborview in Seattle, where she was treated and released. Police are still investigating how the girl was shot and by whom. The girl's father, Stephen Miller of Woodland, Washington, was still being held in the Clallam County Jail as of today. Now, with a look at some other things that happened over the past few days, here's Sandy Keys and his weekend wrap-up.
This year's fire season got started with a whimper. A reported brush fire just before 6 Saturday afternoon along a short stretch of 101, unknown if it was east or west 101. Firefighters also were called to a late-night electrical fire at a Cassidy Road Squim address. Still with small numbers, just 3 known weekend vehicle accidents between 4:30 Friday morning and 4:30 yesterday morning. They were evenly divided among Squim, Port Angeles, and Forks, with no reported injuries. Turning now to weekend violences, only 3 domestic violences. The most recent in Squim, 1:30 yesterday morning. Port Angeles hosted the other 2 late Friday afternoon and 10 o'clock Saturday night. In addition, there were 11 other activities that were labeled disturbances, 8 in Port Angeles, 3 in Squim, and officers responded to 2 threats of or attempts at suicide, one in Greater Port Angeles Saturday evening, the other in a downtown Squim neighborhood a few hours earlier. There were 4 threats of harm to others, with 1 in Port Angeles, 1 in Forks, 2 in Squim. And while we did endure a burglary in the 900 block of West Lordson, we also contended with a theft in Carlsberg, a theft at Clallam Bay, 2 at Forks, 2 in Port Angeles, and all the rest in Squim. And we had more than 27 traffic stops, but the surprising numbers were low numbers. Still a lot more than expected. Those numbers involved domestic animals. We had an unheard-of number of animal abuse complaints. Weekend reports came in regarding perceived abuse near East Runyon and Mill Road in Squim, East 4th Port Angeles, and West 1st Port Angeles. A vicious animal at Marsden Road and Mount Pleasant Road was mentioned, plus an animal bite at Elk Loop Squim and Calavo Way Forks, and one person was bitten right in the middle of the 2100 block of West 15th, Port Angeles. Sandy Keys, Radio Pacific Local News.
In other news, a 41-year-old Lakewood, Washington man was jailed Thursday for transporting meth and fentanyl from out of state. The arrest was made possible thanks to a tip from a Department of Corrections investigator at the Clallam Bay Prison. On April 4th, OPNET detectives were given the information that controlled substances were being transported from Oregon into Washington. The suspect ID'd as Joel Evline, who was under active supervision by the Department of Corrections. OPNET worked with the law enforcement agencies along the I-5 corridor to locate his vehicle. State Patrol then stopped the vehicle that Evline was driving shortly after 7 p.m. in Lakewood. Law enforcement recovered just under a pound of methamphetamine, 500 fentanyl pills, and some paraphernalia in the vehicle. Aveline was booked into the Nisqually jail pending new criminal charges in Pierce County. Well, we're learning more and more every day that whatever it is we want to do or have to do, there's an app for that. Soon that will extend to finding a loved one's grave at the area's largest cemetery. The Port Angeles Parks and Recreation Department has just contracted with the company SemSites to manage much of the city's in-house side of operating the 17-acre cemetery with over 12,000 grave markers. But Parks and Rec Director Corey Delicat says the best part of the new system is how it will benefit the public.
This has been a really cool project that's actually been in the works for about 8 years, and it really is to get our cemetery up to speed from a records management standpoint and also from a GIS mapping. system where folks can go online, go to our website, find their loved one's grave, click on that, and find the information. It's got a lot of cool features as well, like you could go to the cemetery, download the app, and you could literally just like Google Maps and just walk to your loved one's grave.
Delicat says they'll need a little more time to get the needed program uploaded to the city's website, but he's expecting cemetery visitors to soon be able to use their phones to grab a QR code right at the cemetery, get the app right there, and immediately find any grave on site.
It's just going to be a really cool way to do an efficient process for families who've lost their loved ones, and I think, to me, that's the most important thing. Outside of us maintaining that if something ever happened to our records out there, they'll be stored in the cloud, and we will have those records forever.
The city cemetery coordinator, Alex Jones, estimates the new system will go live in about 6 months. This is Newsradio KONP.
Hi, homeowners. Tracy here from Tri-State Roofing, your premier GAF Master Elite Roofer. As spring makes its way into the Pacific Northwest, it's time to assess your roof, especially if your home has seen many seasons. Check for telltale signs like missing shingles, moss growth, and gutters full of debris. Spot any of these? Well, it's Tri-State time. We're your 5-star award-winning Puget Sound roofer for 2 decades. As a locally owned rarity among the top 2% of the nation's roofing contractors, investing in us means we invest in your peace of mind. At Tri-State, we understand the importance of making things stress-free, especially with your finances. We offer great financing, including our 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 18 months on approved credit. With Tri-State, it will be done right the first time. Remember, I'm Tracy from Tri-State, and I stand by every project we undertake. Project now, pay later. At Tri-State, we got you covered.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
Hello, this is Amanda Huff with Swim Valley and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapels. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a new, exciting, and environmentally friendly development in the funeral industry. It's called natural organic reduction, or simply terramation. Perhaps you've heard of it. Terramation is a process in which the body, after death, is returned to the earth in a carbon-neutral, eco-friendly manner. The process takes place in a controlled environment, and all that remains is a natural, odorless, compost-like material. If you'd like more information about terramation and advanced planning, call us today at Harper Ridgeview in Port Angeles or Swim Valley Chapel and Swim, and one of our knowledgeable and caring funeral professionals will assist you in answering your questions. Harper Ridgeview and Swim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
This is Harry Gasnick of Clallam Public Defender. If you or someone you know was convicted of possession of drugs in Washington State before February 2021, we can help remove that conviction from your record and get a refund of any court payments. Contact us today.
Email ClallamPublicDefender@gmail.com or call the Clallam Public Defender Blake Case Hotline at 360-820-9324. Include your name, contact info, and reference drug conviction.
We have helped over 700 people remove drug possession convictions from their records and get more than $300,000 in court fees refunded. No fee is charged for this service.
If you were convicted of a drug possession offense in Washington State before February 2021, contact the Clallam Public Defender Office. Email ClallamPublicDefender@gmail.com or by calling the Clallam Public Defender Blake Case Hotline at 360-820-9324.
Weather forecast calls for rain developing late this afternoon. Could see some gusty northeast winds to 25 miles per hour as well. Your highs in the mid-50s today. Rain at times till early morning overnight tonight, and maybe about a quarter of an inch coming overnight. Lows in the low to mid-40s tonight. Mostly cloudy, chance of rain in the morning, then mostly sunny with a slight chance of showers late in the afternoon tomorrow. Highs will be in the low to mid-50s. Look for partly cloudy skies Tuesday night, lows mid-30s to low 40s. Cloudy for Wednesday with highs in the low to mid-50s. More clouds Wednesday night, lows in the low 40s. And cloudy, a few showers Thursday, highs in the low to mid-50s. Mostly cloudy, chance of rain again Friday, highs in the low to mid-50s. Sunny, maybe a slight chance of rain showers on Saturday with highs in the mid to upper 50s. And a partly sunny Sunday is on the way with a slight chance of some showers late in the afternoon. Highs will be in the low to mid-50s. Currently, partly to mostly cloudy skies. A little bit of a sun break here and there across the North Peninsula. It's 46 in Port Townsend. It's 47 out at Forks. Squim's at 54 now. 49 downtown Port Angeles, and at Fairchild Airport, they're checking in at 50 degrees. Do join us next hour on the Todd Ortloff Show. We're going to be spending the first segment talking with a local author who is an adult with autism. This is Autism Awareness Month, and appropriate that we talk with Christine Maracani on her new book, The Revolving Door, The Untold Story of Disability Support. And then in the second part of the show, we're going to be talking about a new program at Peninsula Behavioral Health that helps to deal with a new youth and substance and co-occurring disorder treatment program there at PBH. So that's all next hour on the Todd Ortloff Show here on KONP.
Can anyone remember in October 1925 when the old foghorn in Port Angeles Harbor became a legend? It blew continuously for 300 hours. The foghorn blew over 1 million times in 1925. It's once every 45 seconds. Old Man Edis has changed his voice with new horns over the years, but continues to keep the deepest port on the West Coast safe. Join First Federal in celebrating their 100th anniversary. Here are their Centennial Song winners, Jesse and Mary Morgan.
Are you looking for a place to belong, a place where community is so strong? It doesn't matter what you can do when you give of yourself, your light shines through. We worked hard for 100 years. First fed up the left, proudly serving the Northwest.
Do you know when your septic system was last inspected? Clallam County Environmental Health keeps those records and can tell you. Pumping your septic and complete septic inspections by licensed professionals are two very different things. State law requires inspections every 1 to 3 years, depending on the system you have. Get more information about your septic system and inspection requirements by calling Clallam County Environmental Health 360-417-2258 or by logging on to clallam.net/septic.
Easy Pawn in downtown Port Angeles is getting a facelift and has converted the front of the store into the Pawa treasure trap. We're bringing in nostalgic collectibles and fun gag gifts guaranteed to spark laughter. Old inventory and glassware has been moved to the liquidation station in the back mezzanine to make room for new merchandise. We're excited to clean house and see what the new year brings. Come on down and see what the new and improved Easy Pawn has in store for you.
Do you have an old wood stove or fireplace insert? Did you know that there are new rebates available now that make it affordable to upgrade to an energy-efficient appliance? Clallam and Jefferson County residents can get up to a $2,000 rebate through the Wood Smoke Reduction Grant from the Washington Department of Ecology. Go to orca.org. That's orcaa.org for more information on the wood stove replacement program or email info@orca.org.
Let's get a last check on business news and the market numbers right before things close on Wall Street for the day as we come up on 10 minutes in front of 1 o'clock now.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Just ahead of Wall Street's closing bell, stocks are little moved today, but on track to end the day a bit higher. That's ahead of some inflation data out on Wednesday, which should give the Federal Reserve more guidance on considering whether to cut interest rates. Right now, the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P 500 all up just about 1/8%. Shares of Tesla up 5% higher. That's after CEO Elon Musk announced he'll unveil the automaker's long-delayed electric engine robo-taxi on August 8th. Target has had it with shoplifters. It's adding cameras to all its self-checkout counters this year, which will sound alarms if items are not scanned by customers. And the White House releasing details of President Biden's latest alternative student debt plan to reduce or wipe out loans for millions of borrowers, those who attended for-profit schools, and for those whose debt exceeds their original principal amount because of accrued interest. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
When everyone has opportunities to succeed, our community is stronger.
By supporting United Way of Clown County, you help make this possible.
We are committed to improving the health, education, and financial stability of every person in our community.
With our partners, donors, and advocates, we reach more people to make a bigger difference in Clown County.
We are here for you.
And we are here because of you.
Together we can recover, rebuild, and reimagine.
To learn about how we can help everyone have access to the resources and support to make this happen, go to www.unitedwayclown.org.
Sherwood Assisted Living in Sequim is the premier assisted living facility on the Olympic Peninsula. At Sherwood, you'll be provided with 24-hour licensed nursing staff in a beautiful facility you'll feel good about calling home. Each resident will enjoy privacy in their own individual apartment with access to prompt and qualified medical care and support services around the clock. To set up a tour or find out more about assisted living with a signature touch, call Sherwood Assisted Living today, 683-3348.
Olympic Peninsula Title, the name you've known for your full title and escrow services, offers contract collection. Let Olympic Peninsula Title process, collect, and disperse funds with your private party loan. Find out more about this service and how it can work for you. OliPenTitle.com. Olympic Peninsula Title. Title, escrow, contract collection. Olympic Peninsula Title.
Bad Boy tractors are born from the legendary Bad Boy mowers. From 20 to 35 horsepower, subcompact to midsize, Bad Boy combines power, performance, comfort, and as always, build strength to deliver the workhorse dependability you need to get the job done and done right. Homeowner, landscaper, or rancher, there's a Bad Boy tractor for you to work with an attitude.
Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales is your Bad Boy tractor dealer in Sequim. Call 360-452-1400 to learn more. At McCrory Carpet One, they sell more than just carpet. If you walk on it, they carry it. Hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tile, stone, and more. Plus, experience their award-winning installation service on everything they sell. Because McCrory's sells more flooring than anyone else on the peninsula, and Carpet One stores sell more flooring nationally than anyone, they can say always priced right and always done right. McCrory Carpet One, serving the community since 1958.
Well, let's get aboard a Southwest Airlines jet taking off from Denver. Details from ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
The engine cover rips off a Southwest flight as frightened passengers look on.
Let's go ahead and declare an emergency for Southwest 3695.
The Houston-bound flight with 143 people on board, including 2 lap babies, forced to make an emergency landing Sunday morning. Diverted back to Denver International Airport just after takeoff.
Flight 3695 landing safely. The Boeing 737-800 was towed to the gate. Southwest blaming a mechanical issue. The FAA is still investigating. A huge cargo ship lost power while in New York Harbor this weekend, reminding many people of what led to the disaster in Baltimore last month. Here's ABC's Derek Dennis.
Another massive container ship losing power less than 2 weeks after the deadly bridge collapse in Baltimore. The 89,000-ton, 1,100-foot-long vessel APL Qingdao anchored close to New York's Verrazano Narrows Bridge. The U.S. Coast Guard confirms the container ship had experienced a loss of propulsion Friday night as it traversed a waterway in New York Harbor.
3 tugboats were escorting the ship, which is standard procedure for large vessels heading out into the Atlantic. The tugs were able to tow the ship until it regained propulsion.
Too much salt can have a big impact on your overall health. Coming up, I'll share some ways to cut back on salt intake.
The Omaha Steaks semi-annual sale is here. Get 50% off site-wide and save on mouth-watering favorites today. Go to omahasteaks.com and shop the semi-annual sale where you can load up on all the delicious flavor you crave at half the price. And when you use promo code QUALITY at checkout, you'll get an extra $30 off your order. Save big on delicious, tender, juicy steaks, big, beefy burgers, and so much more. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code QUALITY at checkout. Minimum purchase may apply.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Those salty snacks can be so hard to pass up, but a lot of us are consuming way too much sodium, and we might not even realize it. The FDA has recently issued new voluntary guidelines asking food manufacturers and restaurants to reduce salt in their products over the next several years. Here's my prescription as both a doctor and a nutritionist on what you can do to lower your sodium intake. First, read those labels. Swap in spices for salt, especially if cooking at home. And lastly, give yourself time to retrain your taste buds. They need to adjust to a lower sodium diet, and it's not something that happens overnight. With Your Body, I'm ABC's Dr. Jennifer Ashton.
Splash into spring at the pool with some fun and exercise. Jim's Pharmacy now carries a Mona swimwear line and Aqua Waves breast forms. There's a variety of sizes, color combinations, and styles of swimwear to choose from. If we don't have the size, style, or color combo you're looking for, you can browse through the Mona swimwear catalog to special order. Aqua Wave breast forms are also in stock. Call our post-mastectomy fitter, Lynette, at 457-3462. All sales are final. Jim's Pharmacy behind the Port Angeles Post Office.
With so many choices for deliveries, how convenient is it that you've got an option for the perfect cup of Joe, too? Fogtown Coffee in Port Angeles delivers. We offer a no-cost delivery for orders to businesses of $20 or more within city limits. Call 360-504-3509 for delivery or download the Joe Coffee app. Just text coffee to 474747 and order ahead for store pickup. You can even schedule a specific time. Fogtown Coffee on Front Street, your front door coffee delivery headquarters.
Hey there, you in aisle 2. I see you by the fiber and laxatives. You still using those to manage your constipation with belly pain? If your symptoms keep coming back, you may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. So you may need more than over-the-counter treatments to manage it. Ask your doctor about how Linzess can help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Right now at Macy's, it's time for a spring refresh. Shop our great shoe sale and save 30 to 40% off Tommy Hilfiger, Madden Girl, and more top names. And take 35 to 70% off during our diamond sale for a little sparkle that goes with everything. Plus, get our lowest prices of the season with 20 to 60% off furniture, mattresses, and more specials. Download the app for even more great deals at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter.
Rely on us for complete news coverage. We're Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Daria Albinger. It was a once-in-a-generation phenomenon.
It's like nothing I've ever seen before.
When it finally happened, she had her glasses on. I said, take them off. Look up. It's insane.
A newly married couple who took their wedding vows just moments before a total solar eclipse over Russellville, Arkansas. One of about 350 couples who tied the knot on this special day.
In a church parking lot in Hillsboro, Texas, a couple dozen people were treated to 4 minutes and 23 seconds of nighttime in the middle of the afternoon.
I've never seen an eclipse before, so it was kind of amazing.
Paul Goss came here from Scottsdale, Arizona, and while clouds had been threatening to spoil the moment,
We had this perfect little window right through there, so we got so fortunate. It was awesome.
Jim Ryan, ABC News, Hillsboro, Texas.
And it was over in a matter of moments. If you missed it, you're going to have to wait a while until 2044 for the next total solar eclipse over the U.S. President Biden outlined a new student debt relief plan which could help 25 million borrowers.
My administration will propose a new rule to cancel up to $20,000 in runaway interest for any borrower that owes more now than when they started paying the loan.
The president made the announcement on a trip to battleground state Wisconsin. Former President Trump has announced his stance on abortion. He says any restrictions should be left up to states to determine. Actor Jonathan Majors was sentenced to probation for his assault conviction.
It makes sense that based on the nature of the allegations and what we heard from the victim in this case as well, that anger management would be a large portion of this as well. We know it's a 52-week anger management program that he's allowed to do in Los Angeles, which is pretty standard. They don't usually force you to come back to the States to do a sentence like that, and to continue mental health counseling.
ABC's legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer. At the closing bell, the Dow was down 14 points. You're listening to ABC News.
Get ready for grilling season with the Burger Perfection Flight for just $89.99 when you shop omahasteaks.com and use promo code QUALITY at checkout. That's 24 rich and juicy Omaha Steaks pure ground burgers. They're guaranteed to deliver an explosive combination of tenderness, juiciness, and unmatched quality. Each 6-ounce burger is guaranteed to satisfy with every bite. That's omahasteaks.com, QUALITY at checkout to unlock this exclusive deal. Hurry, supplies are limited.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Financial issues prompting a low-cost airline to make some changes.
Both JetBlue and Spirit have been signaling financial strains after a merger between the two fell apart. Now Spirit, which has not been profitable since before the pandemic, says it will furlough about 260 pilots and is telling Airbus it will hold off on new plane deliveries with the goal of boosting liquidity. Spirit CEO says the moves are needed to ensure a strong future for the airline.
That's ABC's Alex Stone. Doctors Without Borders says rates of malnutrition are rising across Gaza.
In places like the Al-Aqsa Hospital in the middle sector of Gaza, Christopher Lockyer says,
we're in a really critical situation where our medics there are having to choose between giving beds to trauma patients who are seeking assistance and medication and surgery for some horrendous wounds versus giving those beds to malnourished children.
Counting supply trucks across the border has been oversimplified, he says, adding having more qualified medics to treat patients is also essential. Tom Rivers, ABC News, and the Foreign Desk.
Mexico's National Palace is now the official home of a colony of feral felines. 19 cats have been allowed to freely roam the grounds. Mexico's president has now declared the cats living fixed assets of the palace. That means the government is obligated to feed and care for the cats for the rest of their lives. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
End-of-life decisions are hard. Be it pre-planning or sudden loss, you need to have an advocate in your corner, which is why I wholeheartedly recommend Drennan and Ford Funeral Home and Crematory in Port Angeles, the only locally owned funeral home and crematory in Clallam County. Their expertise ensures a smooth process so you can focus on healing and being with your loved ones. Their help through the darkest time in my life will forever stay with me. Call 360-457-1210.
My name is Alicia Campion from Ridgeline Home Care Cooperative. I am a proud administrator and a member of a co-op. Ridgeline is a worker-owned and operated home care agency empowering caregivers in our community. Empowered caregivers make the very best caregivers, and a successful co-op exists for its members and beloved clients. Ridgeline provides in-home personal assistance services to assist you with daily activity of life, such as bathing, dressing, grooming, meal preparation, and light housekeeping. Please visit us online at ridgeline.coop for more information.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. Para-educators in the Port Angeles School District going on strike in response to the school district canceling school on Monday because the teachers union said it would honor the picket lines, and teachers did not show up for work on Monday as well. The union and district still unable to reach an agreement on a new contract. The paras have been seeking a 3.7% cost of living increase equal to what teachers received earlier. The district says, though, it does not have the money to pay for that request.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Isolated rain showers likely this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. Daytime highs approaching 52. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected again tonight. Isolated rain showers likely, 43. High temperatures reach up to 52 tomorrow. Chance for isolated rain showers. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 52 degrees.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
All right, welcome once again to the program. Autism Awareness Month is this month in April, and appropriate that we're going to talk with someone I've actually chatted with in the past, but it's been a while, and it was during the middle of the pandemic last time, and we had to do it all remotely and such, so it was great to get in the studio Christine Matakani, who is a adult autistic who has written a couple of books and is out with a new book. So Christine, first, welcome. Thanks for coming in. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
So tell me, I'll tell our audience first just a bit about you. I mean, you have a stellar background. You recently graduated from college. Take us through your journey right now into becoming an adult.
Well, I actually graduated from college in 2015, so it was kind of close to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff has happened since then.
How difficult was it for you, though, having autism to navigate through this? And I'm asking this because it's a bit about what this book is about. We'll get to. So
adulthood's been challenging. I felt colleges were not equipped to deal with autism. They had a disability center, but they didn't have support to deal with the social and emotional challenges of autism, because they had say if you can go to college, you don't need that support. It's not an entitlement. Right.
Much different than going through public schools and all of that, where it was just kind of a given that you would have an assistant, some sort of assistance, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, because they don't provide assistance in college. It's you just go there, you be your own advocate, and you do. It's all the work falls onto you, basically.
I'm going to ask your mom, because she's here too, because I wanted to get this from her. Helen's here. How scary was that for you? I mean, she's very self-sufficient. I mean, she's able to, advocate somewhat to herself, but she still, is autistic, and that's a whole different world. So as she grew up, what went through your mind in those days?
Okay, so I had a great staff in high school. Okay, I was a helicopter mom until junior year in high school. I had an inclusion specialist who told me, Helen, have her do the homework by herself. Don't help her with writing papers. Let her fail, and from the failure, she'll learn what she needs to do. and provide, strength into being successful in college or in work or whatever. So that was the time it was really hard because until then,
you're a mom. I think
I was a tiger mom,
right.
fighting for services and whatnot in school. So I did step back. In fact, we let her. She had to be cognizant in knowing what kind of books she had to bring home for to do her homework. She didn't have 2 sets of books. She only had 1 set of books. Mm-hmm. And so she was responsible for knowing what to take home.
Yeah,
and bring back to school.
You got to be proud of her, though. She's done very well.
That's the thing. You got to empower these people.
And hence the book writing. So, Christine, back to you. What made you decide to write? Now, you've written 2 books, and the first one we talked about was really an autobiography about you. What made you decide that you wanted to write, and especially write about autism?
Well, I feel like there wasn't a lot out there about autism except written by professionals and people who did write about autism. They grew up in a different time era where they didn't have a lot of, special education or special ed laws that enabled them to go to public school.
Yeah. Right. And that is a reality because really it's only been a few decades that's been something that has been the law, essentially. Okay, so the autobiography came out. Now your new book is actually fiction, but I'm going to say that it's a lot more truth than it is fiction, really.
Yeah.
and that's really on purpose, I think. So tell us about The Revolving Door, because I think this is something that, and I think anybody ought to read this because it talks about the struggles that folks like you have had, finding people to advocate for you, to help you, to, be your eyes and ears, so to speak.
Well, it's like a revolving door of support people. It's like, this is back in LA, it was hard to recruit people. And if they do, they don't stay that long.
Yeah. How was that for you? Because and full disclosure, we have an autistic son in our house, and it's tough. I mean, once you get it's important to have some consistency. So how difficult was that for you, Christine, when people came and went?
It was really difficult. And then what's wrong with this area is it's really hard to find people that are interested. Because I think there's more stigma around disabilities, like I don't know how to deal with this, or compared to big cities.
What have you told people here that come as a support for you? When maybe they show up a little bit scared, they don't know, what am I getting into? How do you help them out? Do you explain to them a bit about what you specifically need from them?
It's hard it's kind of hard to explain because it's not only finding someone, it's finding someone that's a good fit for that particular person, because everyone's needs are different. So you kind of explain yourself and you see how they kind of react too. Yeah. So it's...
Well, and as they say, if you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person.
Yes.
There's no two alike. And that's part of the issue I think you have, especially with autistic folks, because there could be all the training in the world, but then there's a nuance that comes with every individual. And Helen's nodding her head.
Yes. Yes. What works for us may not work for another person.
Yeah.
Right. Christine, what are your biggest needs? What do you need someone to help you with when you bring in somebody for support? Because people are sitting here going, well, she's written a book, she's graduated from college, she's articulate, she's, she doesn't sound like she'd need help. But what do you need help with?
It's kind of invisible. Unless you really work with me, you're not going to see it. It's more like executive functioning and emotional support. And it's kind of like keeping stuff on track.
Yeah. I totally get it.
And the social stuff, too.
Yeah.
If you could describe for folks, and this may not be a fair question, but Christine, what is it like for you to be autistic? How do you interpret the world that might be different from what you understand a neurotypical person might?
Well, I just have a lot of sensory issues. Crowds could get a lot, and sometimes, I have to carry a fidget, and people always ask me, what
is that?
What is that?
I know what it is. And you need it, because if you don't have that, you'll lose control. I mean, you'll just basically kind of fade out.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Yeah.
I think I talked about in the previous interview, I have to jump around a lot. I have like boundless energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that changed as you've gotten older, or is it just that you know how to regulate it perhaps differently?
I still have the balanced energy, but I just know how to regulate it better.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, she uses a trampoline, for instance.
Yep.
And that helps her regulate her day.
Yeah.
And she seems to be a lot more organized and calmer, too, afterwards.
Let me guess, just from my own experience, you have to get on that trampoline and bounce a certain amount of times, and that helps you then. I don't know. It's kind of like a magic.
Yeah.
Now I can do it. Now I can move on. Now I can do the next thing.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
That's right.
It's OT stuff.
Yeah.
Occupational therapy
for those who.
people out there, right.
I got to be careful because I'm speaking this language with you, and I know what you're talking about. My listeners may not. So take us through your book, Christine, The Revolving Door. Tell us a bit about that. This is a fiction. But as I mentioned, I think it's pretty much based on reality. So take us through the story.
So it is based on my experience moving from Sequim to LA. And in this story, Fiona is she's a protagonist, but she's based off of me. And she moves from San Francisco to a small town in Oregon. And it chronicles her journey trying to find, support people, and then making sure they're a good fit. And the first person had to leave because she had to go to like college. So it mirrors kind of like what I had to go through from like 2018 to 2020, and then she finally finds people that get her at the end.
Yeah. And in your story, Christine, you moved from San Francisco to Sequim, and then you went to college.
Oh, LA
correct?
from Sequim.
LA, from Sequim. So tell a bit about that, just for you, how that was like.
It was very hard because Sequim's a lot different than LA. It was a retirement town. There's not a lot of stuff, and it's
stuff for young people to do.
Young people, and
focused on
young because people. How old were you when you moved to Sequim?
I was 26.
Okay, so it was different. Now, Helen, I got to ask, how did you get to Sequim? Because we talked about this before, but a lot of folks would have said, boy, if you had support, you had, the big city, why did you come to Sequim?
Yeah. Well, we were at a point of our lives that we had to think about retirement. And being born and raised and living in Los Angeles all our lives, we wanted something quieter, peaceful. And my husband, through his work friends, heard about Sequim about 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. And Sequim's always been popping up in various conversations and I do have a cousin. See, I'm an only child, so I'm very close to my cousin, and she lives in Seattle. So we started focusing on the Pacific Northwest, and we thought, let's check out Sequim because they don't get that much rain. It's as much rain as LA, believe it or not. But my husband knew a real estate agent. And she, for 2 years, sent us pictures of all these homes. But, when you're looking at it remotely, you go, oh, nice. And then that's the end of it. So finally we decided we're going to go and visit Sequim for 4 or 5 days and look at homes. And so we looked at so many homes, and we found the perfect home for ourselves. And I knew this was it.
Yeah.
We took a gamble because I knew there were very few resources for autism. But at this point, Christine was already working. She had some work skills. The only thing was she didn't know anybody where she could hang out with a buddy. So that was the part we needed to find, the buddy piece, somebody where she can do things recreationally. Going out, hanging out. And we pretty much gambled on that and came over to Sequim.
But a good move or not? I mean, how do you think?
It has been a good move.
Yeah,
Actually, it has calmed Christine down.
Yeah.
I noticed that. She's a lot more centered, including myself, because I was so tightly wound as a tiger mom in Los Angeles. So
maybe just leaving that whole urban sprawl, that whole urban jungle, if you will, is not a bad thing,
That's
too.
right. So
But,
it's been a good move.
Yeah.
And Christine has gotten used to Squim. First, she was missing Los Angeles all the time, but now, after 5-6 years, she loves it here. She has her, her community, her village, you might say.
Christine, you graduated cum laude from Loyola Marymount, which is it's not something to sneeze at. What was college like for you? We talked about just the transition for you, from getting out of like public school where you had the support and you had to be really self-dependent. But what was college like for you? Because work is different, the school work's different.
Academically, it was not bad. It was the social emotional part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the part I think people have a hard time with.
Yeah.
For some autistic individuals, academic is no big deal.
Yep.
It really isn't. They get it. In fact, they do quite well in academics. It's the organizational, time management, all that. That could be difficult.
And Christine, do you have difficulty reading people emotionally?
Yes.
Yeah. So you've had to teach yourself probably how to
just be hyper vigilant, and it could be very overwhelming.
Yeah, exactly. So if there was anything you wished happened in this area, what would it be, Christine, as far as for folks like you, people who are autistic in Clallam County, in Squim, Port Angeles? What would you hope would happen here? What do we need?
Just more community and like recreation stuff.
Right.
And people willing to hang out with autistic
I was going to say, the awareness part of this is...
I'll share this with you. We posted like a work ad in the Peninsula College, thinking I would get some young people to be interested in hanging out with Christine. And I thought, $20 an hour. Didn't get anybody.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Part of that, do you think, might be just a fear of the unknown, or I'm not sure what I'm getting into?
Yes.
I can just say that I think if you were just to try it out there, folks, you would realize that it's a wonderful place to get your foot in the door with folks.
That's right.
It's not what you think.
That's right.
It's really not what you think.
That's right.
I think there's a lot of stigma that's with it. Mm-hmm. That's why I wish that we had more than just April as Autism Awareness. And we should
every
point out,
month should be it.
And it's also Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month, because they've now a lot of folks in the autistic world have added that in because it's an important part. I think it's exactly what we're talking about.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get you out of here, a chance to meet Christine and actually get a book signing coming up on April 14th on Sunday, 1 o'clock at Studio Bob in Port Angeles. Christine, you're going to be signing some of your new books, which I encourage people to come down. You know what? Get the book, get it signed, and meet Christine, because it's delightful. Yeah. You'll have a delightful conversation with her. So
yes,
I appreciate that. Book is available, and pretty much we can just get it online anywhere, right?
You can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, the usual book buying platforms.
And I will just say that Christine is a fabulous writer, and the books are entertaining. It's not a huge long read at all, but it really is, I think, insightful. And if people were to read this, you would get a real glimpse into the reality of what it's like for someone with autism and families that are dealing with this. So, Christine, way to go. Nice to have you. I hope it's not another 5 years almost before I get to talk to you again. So,
no, we should have an annual reunion, maybe.
I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that. Christine, it's so good to see you. Thanks for coming down. And also, Helen, thank you for coming down.
Oh, my pleasure.
Backstory on this, we ran into each other at the home show of all things, and that's how we got this all organized to get you down.
That's what it was meant to be.
It was.
Under a rainy umbrella.
It was. A rainy umbrella out there. I was getting my coffee. And, and there was Todd. Yeah, it's very good. All right. Christine Baltacani and Helen, her mom, thanks for coming in. And we're going to take a break. Be back with more on our show in just a minute.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers, Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
It's time for Your Port of PA Today. A look inside the port and share what's in it for you.
Hello, this is Colleen McAleer, District 1 Port Commissioner. I'm proud the port has over 100 years of bringing people, resources, and industry together to foster economic prosperity for Clallam County residents. A great example of this has been the port's partnership with Stay Beecraft as they move their North American headquarters to the Port of PA. Our area offers numerous advantages for businesses: a deepwater port, a strong qualified workforce, and competitive operational costs that attract domestic and international businesses to our area. This year, we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of the port by continuing to foster economic prosperity for the people that call Clallam County home.
This has been Your Port of PA Today. Explore portofpa.com.
Are you in love with your pickup? This is Dale from Wilder Auto, and we Northwesterners love our trucks. They tow our boat or trailer, haul our treasures, and get us there safely in snowy weather. We've got a lineup that you'll fall in love with too. From the Tundra or Tacoma to the Titan or Frontier, the Honda Ridgeline to our full lineup of Ram trucks, we have great options for you. New or used, plus the Wilder Advantage. We'd love it if you'd stop by and check us out or 24/7 at wilderauto.com.
Have you received your shingles vaccine yet? If you're 50 and over, it's time to receive your Shingrix vaccines. This is a 2-shot series that may or may not be covered by your insurance unless you are on Medicare. Please head down to our vaccine station to fill out the consent forms, and we can run your insurance and help you figure out your copay. Jim's Pharmacy is dedicated to all of your health and wellness needs. Let our professional staff steer you in the right direction. Jim's Pharmacy, open 7 days a week.
Again, thanks to both the Watakanis who came in to talk with us, and especially to Christine and her new book, The Revolving Door, The Untold Story of Disability Support. It's actually a very great book, and if you're in the disability world or not, you should pick it up. Pick it up as well at the book reading, which is happening on April 14th at Studio Bob at 1 p.m. Here in Port Angeles. You can actually meet Christine. She'll be reading from her book there as well, and you can get a signed copy, too, if you show up at that. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more on our program right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
At Straightview Credit Union, we believe that fast, flexible loan decisions are key to helping our members achieve their financial goals. That's why we're proud to offer a streamlined loan application process that takes place entirely in-house. All loan decisions are made locally, right here in our building, by our experienced lending team. This means that we can typically approve loans within 1 to 2 days, so you can get the funds you need quickly and efficiently. Plus, as a member-owned cooperative, we're committed to putting your needs first and providing personalized service that helps you achieve your financial goals. So, whether you're looking to purchase a new car, purchase a new home, make home improvements, or consolidate debt, we've got you covered. Visit us online at svcu.com or stop by our branch on Lincoln Street in Port Angeles to apply for your loan today. Straightview Credit Union. Fast, flexible loan decisions to help you reach your financial goals. Insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis. 2 people are dead from a crash involving a Washington State trooper in Shelton on Saturday afternoon. The State Patrol said the trooper was driving to an emergency call with lights and sirens on when the crash happened on Highway 101. The trooper hit the driver's side of the vehicle, killing the 2 people inside. An investigation into the cause of the crash is ongoing. The Washington Appeals Court will not allow new DNA testing for a now 52-year-old Wenatchee man convicted of killing his wife in 2012. Sebastian Cortez Aguiar was convicted of first-degree murder and assault in the stabbing death of Hortensia Alejandre. Cortez Aguiar claimed he acted in self-defense and asked for more DNA testing. The appeals court determined further DNA testing would not uncover new information. Cortez Aguiar is serving a 30-year sentence for the crime. The Washington Department of Natural Resources joining state and federal partners in the Pacific Northwest to conduct prescribed burns. Money from the Inflation Reduction Act and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill will be used to conduct 2 pilot burn projects, including one in the Cascade Mountains. The controlled burns reduce fuel on the forest floor that cause wildfires to burn hotter. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app. You can also visit our website, WashingtonStateNews.net.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I taught for 20 years, until I started forgetting my lectures.
Eventually, he had to quit. Getting his early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard, but it gave us time to take control of the situation, together.
I can't imagine going through this without him.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Isolated rain showers likely this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies expected. Daytime highs approaching 52. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected again tonight. Isolated rain showers likely 43. High temperatures reach up to 52 tomorrow. Chance for isolated rain showers. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 52 degrees.
All right, welcome back to the program. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about a new program through Peninsula Behavioral Health called their Youth Substance Use and Co-Occurring Disorder Treatment Program. It's a mouthful, but we'll learn a little bit more about what is all that as we talk with Jamie Doan, who's the Substance Use Disorder Coordinator at PBH. And Jamie, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
So since January, you have had this new youth-oriented program. I guess I'll just kind of lay it out there, let you explain what exactly is you are dealing with.
Well, unfortunately, youth have been using substances, illicit substances, for many, many years. That's not a big surprise to any of us. We have youth that attend treatment at other agencies in town, and sometimes for reasons such as just conflicts, they can't attend at those places. I've worked with youth for about 20 years. It was the first part of my career, and I really wanted to see this happen at Peninsula Behavioral Health, and there's also a need. So we started talking about it last year. We started getting referrals in January, and we get them from our own youth services, and we have mental health treatment. And we also have, we work closely with the other youth facilities in Port Angeles. So we get referrals from Juvenile and Family Services. We've got referrals from other agencies, and I imagine we'll begin getting referrals from the high school as well, and possibly the junior highs, unfortunately, or the middle schools that they're called now.
What are you finding is the biggest substance that's being used? Is it alcohol? Is it other drugs? What typically is happening with our youth right now?
I would say marijuana and alcohol are definitely the front runners, but there are children. I say children because they're under the age of 18. They don't like me to call them that, but our youth population that are also using methamphetamine and opioids.
Wow, yeah. With this, co-occurring disorders, that's a key part to this as well, because correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, you're finding there's a lot of mental health issues that are happening, and one is driving the other in many cases.
This is very true. We're finding that trauma kind of is the leading factor in substance abuse for young people and the older population. So when that trauma is being treated and they're self-medicating, and they're dealing with the trauma situations in their life with another professional, and then they get referred to a substance use disorder professional to also help them begin the process of not self-medicating.
What is different now? I mean, because I can hear a lot of people saying, boy, when, 25, 30, 40 years ago, kids were doing certain things, but it didn't seem to be at the level of harm, if you will, as it is now.
Yes. There's so many factors. I mean, substances are just more available. They're stronger. In the 70s, the THC level in marijuana was not what the THC level is today. And also, I think part of it has to do with legalizing marijuana because it's more acceptable. So there's a lot of factors.
And more available, too,
yes,
perhaps,
much more
right?
available.
Now that's just another thing you can get from someone who bought it legally. I mean, it used to be raid the drug cabinet, if you will, but now there's marijuana laying around sometimes in some adults' houses.
Oh, and there's also the stores. I mean, I was a teenager in the 80s, and we could always find someone to buy us alcohol. Well, now the same teenagers can find someone to buy them marijuana.
You did mention about potency. We just did some news last week about the potency levels are just through the roof. This was actually part of the legislature was dealing with this, as well as that back in 2012 when marijuana was legalized in our state. It was not. I think it's like 10 times more potent now than it was back then as far as the THC levels.
And that also has a lot to do with what it's doing to our juveniles because their developing brain. That's why alcohol and marijuana are illegal till you're 21 because your brain needs to finish developing before all the damage is done from substances.
Right.
So that's also what we're finding that's creating some of the mental health issues.
You mentioned opioids. How much of that is a kid has gotten a prescription for it for something else and then they've gotten perhaps hooked on it and not? Because that used to be a lot of the narrative for adults and how they got addicted.
I see that a lot with adults. I mean, like you say, that's been the narrative for quite a few years. Not as common. I think we're more caution with providing prescriptions for juveniles, but those prescriptions are still in medicine cabinets. And then when they, begin taking them and like that feeling, I mean, the kind of make all the bad stuff in your life go away and let your mind relax a little bit. And then who doesn't want more of something that makes them feel good? That's the nature of people becoming addicted.
What happens if you don't take care of some of these kids in these issues that they have? If you didn't have a program like this in place, what's going to happen as they grow up?
As they grow up, they're quite probably going to be incarcerated, most likely have some records that involved theft to support their habit. All of the negative things that go along with substance use, we will watch these, again, I say children, 13, 14, 15 years old, develop into that 35-year-old that's still doing the same thing and isn't well yet.
This is probably not a fair or accurate question, but take us through a typical case, if you will. What happens? I'm sure everyone is different, but give me a hypothetical of how you take one of these 13, 14-year-olds in and help them deal with this.
Usually it's either a parent or another treatment provider in the area that calls and says, they get a release signed on their end, or the parent calls to make the appointment. Children don't have to have parents involved after the age of 13 because they get, they're developing some autonomy that they get to share with therapists what's really going on, and maybe they do or don't do that with the parent involvement. We try, of course, to get the parent involved as much as we can, but it's also at 13 legally up to the client how much involvement they have. But we bring them in, we do a state assessment, which is, our assessment is guided by the American Society of Addiction Medicine, and it's regulated by state WACs. We ask everybody the same questions, and then we diagnose what level of care they need and what substance use disorder they have. And from that point, if they're going to continue to engage in services, we sit down with them and we build a treatment plan with them, which is, what are you going to work on? How are you going to work on it? How long are you going to work on it? And we keep that treatment plan going with every client as long as they're involved in services. And it's guided by the clinician, but it's also very much client input in what they want to do, which works with the youth. I mean, when they're telling you that this is what I'm willing to do, and you sit down and give them some guidance and some structure in accomplishing goals, it works a lot better than us saying, do this, do this, do this.
You know, we're talking about addiction here in some cases. Some people may say, well, what about a rehab program? What about, do they have to do some sort of inpatient program? What levels do you get into this at some point?
Again, that is guided by the assessment that we do. That's through like ASAM, which is that big long word I just said a while ago. And there's different levels of care. We provide level 1 service, which is up to 9 hours a week. Level 2.1 services we are not providing right now. We're licensed to provide those. We just don't have enough clients at this point in time. I do imagine we will at some point, but that's 9+ hours a week, which is a lot of treatment for a 15-year-old that goes to school, and we would like to have involved in, maybe sports or maybe some other extracurricular activity.
Yeah, at those levels, you're talking about almost a daily contact with some of these kids then, right?
But we have one youth right now that one of the clinicians sees 3 times a week. Mm-hmm. So, that's about, it's only 3 hours a week. But when you say only, the kid's going to school full time also and has other circumstances that he has to be involved with, such as the courts.
This has got to be difficult, though, because of either around peers, they're around, there's all sorts. It's bad enough for adults to try to navigate this. I think for kids, it's probably even more difficult.
Yeah, because they do have the cohorts that they're around that they've engaged in this type of activity with for a while. And that's one of the most difficult things for adults and youth is you have to change people, places, and things. Otherwise, you're still going to keep doing the same thing. And that's really, like you said, it's really difficult for a juvenile to do. They're going to go to the same school. They're going to be in the same classes.
How do you help somebody like that? You have them come in and you're going to send them right back out there because they're not going to switch schools necessarily, or maybe if it's that drastic, but pretty much you're not going to do that.
They often start seeing that better choices are getting better things for them in life. They're not going in and out of juvenile. They're not being suspended from school. Their parents and their relationships are better. There's trust that's rebuilt. Really, they start seeing the good things that happen a little bit at a time, and they make their own realization that if I do this, this will happen. And it's a process. It takes a while. You're not going to send anybody out and say, don't do drugs, and 2 weeks from now they're like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I just decided. True addiction doesn't work that way. But there's a lot of steps that are put into place for, clinicians to work on and the clients to work on. And it's really just building the relationship, having some trust, wanting those kids want to come back and say, I did this week. Or I went this whole week, and didn't smoke any marijuana. Will you test me for it right now? They're asking, can I show you what I've done? But it isn't easy. They go to the same school. We put certain things in place, like what route are you going to walk differently home this week? Or how much time are you going to spend shooting hoops at the YMCA instead of hanging out on the corner? Or it's really baby steps.
Yeah. How many, would we be surprised at how many cases are exacerbated, parents essentially, they're at the end of what they think they can do. Because we talk about referrals in, you also said sometimes this is parents calling and saying, I don't know what to do next.
That happens often. I think every parent has been there at some point in their life with their child, maybe not with substances, but I just don't know what to do. When you add substances, it's even more difficult, but then they turn to professionals. And we have, education and history that can help.
I should ask you this earlier when we talked about, potency and things like that. What about just lifestyle in general? We have these, smartphones and we're all connected, and it seems like there's really, the world is a way different place than it was even a decade ago.
Yes.
Does that play into this, do you think, as well?
Social media is a big part of it because, everybody's cool on social media and they're all doing all this stuff that, even our advertisement places that, they've got the cool beer commercials. Everything looks really good. We use it to our advantage, though, because there's a lot of apps online that help, you can play games that add up a score. You can get treatment trackers. There's numbers you can talk to people just to call and talk if you're feeling like you want to use. So, we definitely use social media and all the apps that kids have.
Can't beat them, join them, right?
That's
in some ways,
exactly
right? How does this get paid for? Is there insurance coverage in this? Because this is a lot of treatment, as you mentioned.
There's insurance. I have the joy of working where I work, and we rarely have to turn people away. I mean, it's just not some community mental health, and especially the people that work in our finance department. There's grants, there's insurance, there's getting people connected to insurance that it's available, but they haven't signed up for it. There's just a variety of different ways. It is predominantly insurance, but there's also other funding that is very helpful for those people that don't fit the what needs to be in for insurance.
Right. Sliding scales as well. All right. Yep. This is a treatment model I think that's relatively newer. I mean, because we're talking about it here. How many other community behavioral health type places around the state perhaps are doing this, or is this an up and coming type of program, or what?
Actually, I don't know the answer to that question, but I know that we will see more and more community health agencies serving the juvenile population, just unfortunately because it's necessary.
Yeah, and we should point out, I mean, PBH traditionally hadn't dipped down to that level for most things until just recently. I mean, it's been an adult services type agency for many years.
I took the program 2 years ago, and I spent the first 10 years of my career working specifically with youth at Juvenile and Family Services. I actually told my supervisor at one point, I will never work with adults. And now I have like a 75% caseload that's adults. But it's been my dream since I came to Peninsula Behavioral Health that in the SUD realm we would provide youth services.
Yeah, it's good news, bad news. Good news, this program's available. Bad news that we have to have a program like that because there's such a need for it. But
that's exactly right. I always say that it's really terrible that there's the need for what I do, but there is the need for what I do.
Right. If people want more information, how can they find out? Should call PBH?
Call PBH.
All right.
That's all you got to do is call ask to speak to the coordinator for substance use services. They can ask for me by name, and I can talk to people, fill people in, tell them what we have available, what we do, what we don't do.
All right. That's Jamie Doan, in case you didn't catch that earlier. That's who we've been talking to. She's the SUD coordinator at Peninsula Behavioral Health, and talking about their new youth substance use and co-occurring disorder treatment program. And we'll have to have you back on again. I'd like to talk more about it as this continues to evolve.
Thank you. I'd love to come back, and especially as we get larger.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Jamie, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more on our show right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
When purchasing a home or land, nobody wants to inherit existing debts or legal issues that could interfere with their property rights in the future. That's why it's important to work with local title insurance professionals and protect your rights with owner's title insurance. Olympic Peninsula Title has been protecting the property rights of Clallam County customers for 35 years. Put our team of professionals to work for you. For title insurance, contract collections, and escrow services, opt for Olympic Peninsula Title.
Mark your calendars for an insightful evening at Olympic Medical Center's upcoming Community Forum in Sequim. Join us on Thursday, April 11th at 5:30 p.m. at our Sequim campus in the Medical Services Building, located at 840 North 5th Avenue. Hosted by CEO Daryl Wolf, this forum promises current updates on Olympic Medical Center, as well as time to answer questions from our community members. For more information, visit olympicmedical.org/communityforum.
Welcome to Volunteer Spotlight, sponsored by Jim Hagwood, PA Realty. This is Alan Barnard, and this Volunteer Spotlight shines on Nor'Wester Rotary, where service above self is their guiding principle. Founded by a diverse group of professionals in 1977, focusing on service and fellowship, Their efforts have contributed to the Port Angeles Dream Playground, the Skateboard Park, the Boys and Girls Clubs, Peninsula Behavioral Health, the Juan de Fuca Festival of the Arts, Dignity Toilets for Toga Africa, and so much more. This dedicated organization of passionate community members is making a difference locally and worldwide. To learn more or join them, visit norwesterrotary.org. It's said that service is the rent we pay for our space on Earth. That's why we present this volunteer spotlight, sponsored by Jim Hagwood at PA Realty.
Welcome back to the program. Health officials sounding the alarm about a substance that may be as easy as going to your local convenience store to get. It has many different names, but it's been coined gas station heroin for its addictive traits, and in some cases, using the drug has been deadly. ABC's Brad Milkey, host of the daily news podcast Start Here, has a conversation with ABC's Rena Roy.
This over-the-counter drug has been dubbed gas station heroin because you can buy it at a gas station or your local bodega at a convenience store, and it produces opioid-like effects. What it actually is, though, is a drug. It's a pill called tianeptine, and it goes by all different names, different brands like Tiana Red and Zaza. And you can buy it for about anywhere from $50 to $100. It's actually marketed by one brand as happiness in a bottle, as sort of this wellness product to help with anxiety and mood, as sort of maybe an antidepressant. And if you haven't heard of this stuff or seen this stuff, it comes in colorful little bottles. They're lined up on shelves. There's different varieties, extra strength, regular, Tiana versus Tiana Red. Do you guys have Zaza? Yes. Okay. Where is it? Oh, here. We walked into a store, a local bodega here in New York City. We saw it lined up all on the shelves. So you really see it all over the place, except for the states where it's banned in nearly about a dozen states.
And so, what does it do? What are the effects?
Well, it's really advertised as something that's really just supposed to make you feel good. It's supposed to relax you. It's supposed to create happiness, as one brand says, happiness in a bottle. But what we're really hearing is some pretty scary stories about it, and people who have been surprised about the effects that it can create, given that it is something that's bought over the counter. We spoke with two different families down south in Alabama and Mississippi who've lost their sons after taking tianeptine.
All I knew that he had took them pills for a headache, but I had no idea that they would have took his life.
Christy Terry in Alabama says her 19-year-old son, Jonathan, who was a college student studying business and theater, she says he died from that drug. He was someone that suffered from migraines and had walked into a convenience store looking for Tylenol or Advil just to help with one of his usual migraines, and instead was given so-called gas station heroin. He ended up taking, over the course of one night, 12 of the 15 pills in that bottle. That bottle had suggested only 2 pills a day. So Christy found her son unconscious. It was, to her knowledge, the only time that he had ever really taken a drug before. And that's what ended up happening. So we've been hearing different stories like this from different families.
So it was ruled accidental. Is there any doubt in your mind that tianeptine killed your son?
None whatsoever. None. If it wasn't for this little bottle right here, Christopher would still be here.
Tracy is another mother who tells us her son, Christopher, died from tianeptine as well.
I remember him telling me that he felt closest to God outdoors, nature. He loved nature.
Tracy's son, Christopher, was 29 years old, and he died almost exactly 4 years after Jonathan. And Christopher was someone who struggled with addiction to tianeptine. He was looking for ways to kind of overcome depression. And so he turned to tianeptine. And he had even told his mom at one point when they had a conversation about tianeptine that he didn't think anything would happen to him because it was something that was sold, over the counter. So Tracy had given Christopher a couple of bucks and said, hey, pick yourself up, go get some coffee, go to the local store and get yourself some breakfast. He was struggling with depression. And that is when she says he purchased a bottle of tianeptine, and she didn't hear from him for several days.
And I went inside, and there he was. He'd been there a couple of days. His little face had started changing colors.
And she went to his apartment, and that's when she found him unresponsive.
I laid down with him and I scratched his back and I rubbed his hair. He always wanted me to play with my hair, Mama, scratch my back. And I did. One last time. And I gave him back to God.
Wait, and so just to hear these stories, it's surprising then to hear that this is legal, federally at least. This stuff is just fully legal?
Right. Federally it is, but it is banned in nearly a dozen states. So it just depends on what state you're in. Christopher's mom, Tracy, she was actually there as the governor in Mississippi signed a bill banning tianeptine. And so now we are seeing several Congress members coming together. They are urging more action at the federal level when it comes to this drug.
Yeah, what is happening medically? Like, is there a consensus from doctors over what this drug is doing and whether it's dangerous?
So it is used as an antidepressant drug in some countries, but experts that we've spoken with say there are really a lot more risks to taking this than there are benefits. Dr. William Rushton, he specializes in emerging drugs of abuse at the University of Alabama in Birmingham, where Jonathan actually went to school. He says he finds tianeptine really contains few upsides and there is a really easy potential for addiction.
People that say that, tianeptine can be just as dangerous as eating an orange, well, we're not putting people that are eating oranges on a regular basis in our intensive care units.
He finds, again, that this is more dangerous than it is helpful.
What do the makers of these drugs say? Because I imagine if these are used as prescription medication in some other countries, I imagine they're not doing this thinking, we're trying to hurt or kill people.
Yeah, well, we chatted with a few former manufacturers, and they really don't see anything wrong with this drug.
There are other people that are benefiting from this product. And to just turn around and start banning products without having solid meaning behind it, then where does it stop?
They essentially say that these claims about death are lies. So one of the manufacturers actually texted us in defense of this product, insisting the product is safe, helpful even. And so I read it out loud, and he basically said it's impossible to overdose on tianeptine.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
Building a future, sharing a dream, working together, we're on the same team.
Are you tired of paying high interest rates on your consumer loans? Look no further than Straight View Credit Union. We're proud to offer the best consumer loan rates in Clallam County, so you can borrow what you need without breaking the bank. Whether you're looking to purchase a new car, make home improvements, or consolidate debt, we've got you covered. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will guide you through the loan process and help you find a payment plan that works for your budget. Plus, as a member-owned cooperative, we prioritize your financial well-being over profits. Join us today and experience the Straight View Credit Union difference. Visit us online at svcu.com or in person to apply for your consumer loan today. Insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
McCrory Carpet One is part of a 1,000 store co-op. That means you get the competitive pricing of a big box store, but with a superior installation. Their team of professional installers are all employees who live here on the peninsula. Their installation teams take pride in their work because they know they're working for their neighbors and friends, local craftsmen helping local people. Experience the difference. Always priced right and always done right at McCrory Carpet One.
My name is Alicia Campion from Ridgeline Home Care Cooperative. I am a proud administrator and a member of our co-op. Ridgeline is a worker-owned and operated home care agency empowering caregivers in our community. Empowered caregivers make the very best caregivers, and a successful co-op exists for its members and beloved clients. Ridgeline provides in-home personal assistance services to assist you with daily activity of life, such as bathing, dressing, grooming, meal preparation, and light housekeeping. Please visit us online at ridgeline.coop for more information.
If you were convicted of a drug possession offense in Washington State before February 2021, contact the Clallam Public Defender Office. You may be entitled to have that conviction removed from your record and receive a refund of any monies you have paid to the court system due to that conviction. The Clallam Public Defender has assisted more than 800 local residents get these convictions removed from their criminal histories and refunded more than $300,000 to the persons helped. This service is provided at no cost to the client. If you or someone you know has been convicted of a drug possession offense in Washington State before February 2021, contact the Clallam Public Defender Office today. They will help remove that conviction and get a refund from any court payments. Email clallumpublicdefender@gmail.com. That's clallumpublicdefender@gmail.com. Or by calling the Clallam Public Defender Blake Case Hotline at 360-820-9324.
We're the talk of the peninsula. Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, FM 101.7 and 101.3.
From ABC
a Radio
News.
Pacific station.
I'm Daria Albinger. It was a perfect day to spend a few minutes in total darkness.
It's incredible. It's the sun, the sky. It's the most beautiful thing I have ever seen.
She traveled to Mazatlan to witness today's total eclipse and says the decision was well worth it. ABC's Lee Goldberg in Burlington, Vermont, one of the top viewing spots.
That diamond ring was so piercing, so brilliant as it came out, and the highlight is when we were looking around the corona during totality, I saw a bright spot, red spot in the bottom, and I said, is that a CME? Is that a solar flare? The Vermont Astronomical Society was right next to us, and they yelled out, is it? I said, yep, absolutely. So we saw that solar flare. We get to study that, something that affects our Earth's atmosphere, our magnetic field. Just incredible stuff out here in Burlington, Vermont. So lived up to the hype.
The next time the U.S. will experience a total eclipse will be in 2044. Former President Trump says abortion should be a state's issue, and he's hearing about it now from some people in his own party.
Responding to criticism that stopping short of calling for a nationwide abortion ban undermines the anti-abortion cause, Donald Trump pushes back fiercely on fellow conservatives. Trump writes on social media, many good Republicans lost elections because of this issue. And to critics whom he calls unrelenting on abortion, Trump says they are, quote, handing Democrats their dream of the House, Senate, and perhaps even the presidency.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. President Biden traveled to battleground state Wisconsin today to roll out a new student debt relief plan.
My administration will propose